What's up, y'all? What's up, fam? Hey, this is Sideline2Baseline with your boy K Lou. K Lou not here though, but we holding it down. This MB. I got my man Double A. What's up? Rocking that Miami t-shirt. How about them? We got those canes over here. Bruce. Yeah, baby, those hurricanes.
They
Shocked
put
the
we, we,
world
we,
pulled
we
it
we
out.
put it on Auburn last night.
Put it on them, baby. Put it on them, man. Put
Yeah.
it on them, man. Oh man. And then we got my boy, my cuz D Haven. What's up, D?
Yo,
Yo, my man, yo. Oh, and then what? Not even T Ron. Oh man, he's always protesting. Oh man. What's up, Jason? How you doing? What you got going on? Not even T Ron. Talk to me, baby.
Oh man, just
What's on your
roller
mind?
coaster ride.
Huh?
Sometimes the best moves you make are the ones you don't make, and it's okay being the only team in the NFC South that did nothing. I guess.
That's good, coach speak.
Yeah.
gonna run it back with Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, will they bring Cam back? Is that the question?
I believe so because I think he's going to have no market. So I think they're just going to vet minimum, and that's what I think.
I gotta think that's where I gotta think they're going after Garoppolo now. That's got to be their only.
Yes.
I think we're just going to end the draft.
Yeah, well, let me say this, and what Jason referring to, if you guys didn't know, talking about the NFC South, some moves went down today. First of all, with the Falcons, man, the Haven, your hometown team, trading Matty Ice to the Colts for a third-round draft pick, and their replacement is Marcus Mariota. Man, what do you think about that move that the Falcons made? And on top of that, right? I mean, I wish K. Lou was here because he a big Matty Ice fan. Not, but my man, they took a hit of the largest dead money, over $40 million in dead money in cap space, trading Matty Ice for a third-round pick to the Colts, man. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, DeHaven?
I mean, I think here Arthur Blank knew that it was time. I think they showed that with going after Deshaun. Matt Ryan has been here since 2008, and I know a lot of Falcons fans. And after that 2016 season, they when they went to the Super Bowl and he was MVP, they haven't really seen much from Matty Ice, and they were like, it's kind of ran its course. What's interesting though is Atlanta didn't have. I don't know if they're going to take someone in the draft. I don't know. It kind of puts in question their move last year. They could have had one of those quarterbacks last year, like a Mac Jones or something like that.
Yeah, but their pick last year it hit. It was a sure thing.
It was a sure thing, but it doesn't mean anything if they don't have a quarterback to get them the ball now, right? This year's draft class.
They went after Mariota because he played for Arthur. What's his name? Arthur Smith in Tennessee. So they got a relationship already.
Yeah. So I just think it was time. I mean, it's ran 14 years in one place, 15 seasons, one place. You got to get younger at the position. So I just think it was time. A lot of fans are happy that he's gone. I'm not a fan, though. Disclaimer: I don't like the Falcons like that.
Right, you San Francisco all the way, baby.
Yes.
Hey, Jason, what's your thoughts, man? So now we put it in perspective. Not even T. Ron, talk to me, baby.
Well, I do. I get the move from the Indianapolis side. I think, and this is going to sound wild, but I think Carson Wentz is a better quarterback in practice. I think for whatever reason, he's lost the ability to throw it away. It's not with Carson Wentz. It never seems to be the plays he does. Everybody knows he can play. It's the boneheaded plays. It's the forcing it. It's the, hey, you have a punter. It's the I don't know. So I understand that because if you needed a quarterback that'll throw it away, you got the one, Matt Ryan. So I think check down Charlie
or throw to the check down, right? Then you say
there you go. So there you go. So I think from an Indianapolis side it's brilliant. I think from an Atlanta side it's brilliant. I think it's gotta sting quite a bit if you're Matt Ryan because you've been there for so long. You're the franchise all-time leading passer. You checked down your way into the top 10 all-time passing yards, and then you had to see him try to go after Deshaun Watson, then ship you out anyway. So all the reassurances I think he got of, well, look, it's everybody would go after Tom Brady, but then when they don't get to Deshaun Watson, it's like, whatever it takes to get you out of here. So I think it's the right move for everyone all around, and that's what makes me so sad. Is I hate to see Atlanta get better by getting rid of him, and I hate that Carolina did nothing at all whatsoever. New Orleans re-signed Jameis, so I think the NFC South as a whole got better, and Carolina stayed stagnant, as per usual.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know. I got to challenge you on that. If the move was better, I don't think it was better. Just in the sense of you don't have a replacement in the house. I mean, you talk about Marcus Mariota, that his work with the head coach, right, Arthur Smith, but shoot, just remember. Tennessee got rid of Mariota, So, and Mariota's been a backup in the Raiders. So I know with Matty Ice, with all he brings to the table, but I'm like, man, you get rid of him for a 3rd-round pick, and on top of that, you take over $40 million cap hit just to get rid of him. And
it's
I'm
a
like,
rebuild.
man, I see like you could justify it with Deshaun Watson, but you can't justify it with Marcus Mariota and say, okay, we're gonna get better. We got better. I just don't see that, man. Even with all Matty Ice, what he brings to the table, regardless if you're a fan or not, his production is still above average. Production still better than Marcus Mariota. So I don't know about that move. I just question to me the Colts they stole him. I mean, you
but
3rd-round pick. I think Matty Ice fit definitely in better with the Indianapolis Colts in that regards. Because I thought the Colts, man, what are they gonna do? They got rid of Carson Wentz. They don't have a 1st-round draft pick. I was like, man, they're screwed. They ain't nobody they're gonna be able to get. But then to me, they worked the magic, man, by putting out Matty Ice. I mean, is he a top 10 quarterback? No, but he's definitely an upgrade of Carson Wentz, and he's definitely a better fit in that scheme, right? Than because he's going to manage the ball well and throw to the check down. And so when you talk about Indianapolis Colts, I mean, they got a great defense, they got a running game. They're not counting on him to come in and be the savior. I think it's really good for him, a good situation.
I mean, it could be that the Falcons just admitted that they're doing a rebuild. I mean, the next year's class might be a little bit better. Does Bryce Young come out after next year? There's a better class of quarterbacks coming out next year. Maybe they're like, they passed on the quarterback the last couple of years. Maybe they're saying, hey, let's just do a rebuild right now, take the hit this year, and then next year we can get our quarterback of the future.
The price of plywood at home. The price of plywood at Home Depot just went up about 10-15%.
So Atlanta eats the entire cap hit, even though it was a trade. I knew they would hit the full amount if they cut him, but even in a trade, Atlanta eats the full amount.
They eat the dead cap.
Yeah, because it's the signing bonus stuff, the proration stuff, all that dead stuff.
The stuff they've been doing for years to kick the can.
Huh?
Yeah, all those restructurings, Jason, for all those years. They had to get out of it sometime, and they just decided this was the year to get out of it.
So they're just taking their medicine.
Yeah, they're taking their medicine. Like I said, admitting a rebuild. And like I said, you got a nice young crop of quarterbacks coming out next year. Is the guy from Ohio State, the kid from Ohio State, Stroud might be coming out. Bryce Young,
Alabama could be coming out. So
yeah,
I like when what you're saying, Dave, in the sense they're like, look, we're just gonna go ahead and position ourselves. We ain't gonna pay the coach to like allegedly like how Brian Flores said they try to get down the tank. We're taking it in our own hands, get rid of quarterback, bring in Marcus Mariota, and we rather just live with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Atlanta games right now more for the DJ anyway. A lot of people go to the game just for the DJ. A lot of people go to the game just for the DJ and to be seen. And anyway, so
doesn't that strike you as weird though? Because then by that token, I mean, I'm a fan of Mariota from an ability standpoint. Why didn't Indianapolis just go get Mariota? Is it?
I mean, but what has Mariota did though, Jason? Like, I mean, Mariota, like I said, he ended up getting cut by Tennessee. I mean, he started off on fire, right? But then he just started dwindling down. He haven't done anything in a long time, So I don't know.
The one game he's played, he played well.
Win.
All Frank Reich's got to go do now is just get a couple receivers.
Win.
When he played for Derek Carr on Monday Night Football, he played well. He really did. Look it up.
I mean, they had some packaging come in and run the ball, this and that.
He played the whole game.
No, it's almost like Trubisky. He was a backup at Buffalo, and now all of a sudden he's like there. I mean, maybe I don't know, that year off, that gap year, take a year off, it makes you more appealing. I don't know. I just don't see Mariota. I mean, so you're saying if you had a choice between Marcus Mariota and Matty Ice, you're taking Mariota?
His name is Matt Ryan, but I think that if you're forgetting, it's Matthew Ryan. There's a Monday Night Football. Derek Carr got knocked out of the game last year, and Mariota came in and won him that game and played well. I mean, he played like a half, like 3/4 of the game. He played well. So like I think
yards, something like that.
Yeah, I think Tannehill kind of took that job from him with that run a little bit more than necessarily Mariota lost it. Because remember, Mariota was injury, right, that put Tannehill in, but then they went on that streak. I don't think Mariota's play necessarily put Tannehill in, was it? Wasn't it there like the controversy that there was the injury and then we're not going to bring him back too soon, but then Tannehill took him to the AFC Championship game, so they left him in? So, I mean, I do get what you're saying, but I think from an ability standpoint, even Mariota matches up better in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor and the ability to be a dual threat. I mean, Matt Ryan can't run – to the locker room. So, I don't know. I mean, he's got that John Gruden type of run, that weird jog where it looks like he's running in place. So I do think Matt Ryan is a far superior passer to Mariota.
Well, look at this though, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead. I was going to say that's what Frank Reich. I mean, it's one episode because of Jonathan Taylor, but it's predicated on the passing game. Like think of Nick Foles when he won the Super Bowl in Frank Reich's offense. That's more Matt Ryan probably than Mariota.
Yeah.
And that's what I was about to say. That's a West Coast offense, right? It's not a lot of design runs. Obviously, design runs, you got to implement that in. Mariota, like you said, I mean, he came in for that game, but that's not enough body of work. And up until then, he would come in and they'll have like different packages with like Tebow packages with him running the ball, So I think for his offensive scheme, just the fact that he was with Arthur Smith, and so Arthur Smith understand that it's going to allow him to run the offense. I think he's a better fit in Arthur Smith type of offense. But when you talk about Indianapolis Colts offense, no, Matty Ice is a better fit to me in that scheme just because his West Coast scheme is what he's been running for a while with the Shanahan and all that stuff. So it's the same type of family. So to me, Matty Ice is a much better fit than Marcus Mariota. And then Marcus Mariota, I don't know, it's just more like an upgrade than what's your man from the Saints, not what's the guy from the Saints, the gadget guy,
Yeah. Mormon.
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah, so to me it's like that. I just don't see that. I don't know when you factor in a third round pick, $40 million cap hit, I'm like, man. But I like what D. Haven say in the sense of let's go ahead and rebuild because next year you got the two quarterbacks, the one from Alabama and the one from Ohio State. And if you get any one of those, you definitely can get it. It's definitely worth to take those to get those two guys. One of those two guys.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you the question. We talked about what you think this offseason has been a quarterback musical chairs other than what Green Bay, obviously with Aaron Rodgers staying. But who you think won? Who you think got the best deal out of all the quarterbacks this offseason? Which team you think came out on top? And in the same breath, which team you think made the worst mistake? Either didn't keep a guy or traded for the wrong guy. What's your guys' thoughts?
I bet we all agree. It's up north. It's in the Midwest.
They wear orange in their helmet.
Really, Double A? I think Cleveland won.
Cleveland Browns.
Tampa Bay.
But see, yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't. You know what I mean? It kind of felt like that was Tom, not Tampa. It was almost felt like it felt reactionary, like he was saying when they said something about they wouldn't send him somewhere. I don't think he liked somebody deciding his fate. So I think he was kind of like, you ain't gonna tell me nothing.
Yeah, they called his bluff. They won.
Yeah. Because he was coming to the 49ers.
So you guys think the Browns won? Do you even same way you think the Browns won this offseason for his quarterback musical chairs?
Oh, definitely. Now you got Jarvis Landry wanting to come back, and all definitely. I mean, they gave up a lot. $230 million guaranteed is a lot of money, but he's worth it. I mean, if he plays the way he played before last year, well, he didn't take any hits last year, so he's fresh.
Did you hear why Carolina lost on him? Because we wouldn't guarantee the last 40-something million on his contract. That gamble didn't work out. Yep. That was the sticking point. That's actually what made him announce that Carolina was out, is they would not agree to such a just what
where does Mayfield wind up? I forget. Did he sign or
no,
he wanted Indy.
He's still with the Browns.
I'd watch Seattle for Baker. I'd watch Seattle. Yeah.
He wanted Indy. That's where he wanted to go. He said it.
I'd watch Seattle.
That's tough. That's going to be tough. You can't feel those shoes.
What does that tell you when Frank Reich says, "Yeah, I'd rather Matty Ice than a third-round pick"?
I mean, honestly, I could see him going to Carolina.
Yeah, I think you might see him in Carolina. I'm thinking that makes sense.
Then that leaves no place for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, would you think like with Carolina, like they're the one, because I give them an A for effort, right? Because I mean they tried what's my man, Teddy Bridgewater, that didn't work out. They traded for Sam Darnold, that didn't work out. They brought Cam Newton back, that didn't work out, Then they tried for Deshaun Watson, that didn't work out. So I mean, I feel bad for them. They need somebody that's like a proven winner, And unfortunately, I don't think Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield fit that category, I just don't think. I think he's still rolling the dice.
Your father said Kaepernick wants to come back. Maybe Seattle would take
I mean, Jimmy G's been to two championship games out of 4 seasons. Still don't want him, but I'm just saying, he's like, he's kind of, if we're like a poor man's Indy, we want to run the ball. I think we got similar talent level on defense to Indy. We're maybe one notch lower, but a little bit more dynamic. And then I think we got, similarities on offense.
They have a much more reliable running back than you do. Your guy's Glass.
Yeah, but I would give the edge over Carolina's. I like DJ Moore better than Michael Pittman and whoever else they have with Zach Pascal on the other side. So Robbie Anderson, if Robbie Anderson stretched the field, Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw deep, so he would probably be null and void. But I like DJ Moore is pretty good to me.
Yeah, and he just re-signed in the defense. So do you think Double A? Do you think like Carolina? I mean, where does Baker end up? What's your thoughts on that?
He needs a reclamation project, and I mean, Indy was really the perfect place for them with Frank Reich, and that's got to be really crushing to him that they just said we want a 36-year-old quarterback who's got not much left of an arm over you. So I don't know where he winds up. I mean, can Pete Carroll, give him life and give him the confidence back? I don't know.
They got some good weapons out there. Lockett, Metcalf, Houston. Yeah, Houston's the other place.
I mean, if they just played nice with Cleveland on Deshaun.
But Houston's got that kid from Stanford. They liked him.
Davis Mills. They do like Davis Mills.
Yeah. So,
I mean.
If I'm them, I'm angling to go to Seattle with Metcalf and Lockett.
That's what I'm saying. They got weapons there.
Yeah.
I don't see – you can't follow those footsteps. That's going to be so tough, like the expectation. And, dude, honestly, I think – let me tell you something, man. Drew Lock can play. Drew Lock can play, man. I think ever since I saw him on the sideline playing or singing along with that I Put On For My City, that kid, he went to Missouri. Like, that kid can play.
Listen, when you're playing in Seattle, you're already getting a game-and-a-half advantage anyways with that home field. But, he's still a 500 quarterback at best, Drew Lock, whatever, if you had an advantage in Denver and he couldn't be better than a 500 quarterback. So there's more upside to Baker. I think legitimately there is, but there also is, I think the guy's a bit of a head case at this point. And I don't ever know if he gets over it, if he gets over that mental, because I think he's definitely got something that's keeping him from firing on all cylinders.
So right now, which are the teams that need a quarterback right now? Carolina, right? Who else?
Seattle.
Tennessee.
Seattle. Who else?
Tennessee.
Tennessee's
Nah, they're not. They cap fried with Tanny.
Or
So
Tannehill.
was Atlanta.
Yeah.
So was Atlanta.
New Orleans. Well, they just signed Jameis.
Yeah.
So I'm just
So
saying,
right now,
yeah, it's just those
Seattle
two.
and Carolina, those the main two. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm with AA. Houston really likes Davis Mills.
Yeah.
They should. And they should.
And you
Right.
might have 3 quarterbacks coming out next year. If the Miami kid backs up what he did last year, you're gonna have three NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah,
You got
that's
Atlanta,
definitely
Ohio State, and then the Miami kid, and then that's 3 legit studs.
See, and for me, I that's a good point. And I think, as far as circle back on Baker Mayfield, I think right now, I mean, I could see Seattle or Carolina taking a chance on him because it's not going to cost you anything from a draft standpoint. It's not going to be a high draft pick for him,
Right.
just because right now Cleveland got to move him, and
Right.
they can't demand too much from him.
They might waive him.
Huh?
They might wind up waiving him and just cutting him in a minute.
It could be, but I think if Seattle definitely want to come kick the tires, if Matty Ice went for third, maybe they can get him for a fourth. You know what I'm saying? Or Carolina.
It is a former number one pick.
Hard.
Right.
Maybe they can get him. Same thing. Get him for a 4th round, 5th round draft pick, kick the tires, or conditional pick. So, but the thing is, you got to carry that money, and with Carolina, they're already carrying Sam Donald 5th year on the cap, so that'll be tough. But I can
But
see
the two remain
I can
expensive.
Seattle, carrying, trying them out and see if it works. What they got to lose.
I could see that. He'll be motivated now.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're Seattle, do you want him? Do you want Garoppolo, or do you want?
I think Jimmy G will cost you too much,
right?
And then it's going to be hard. I don't see San Fran, even though they're looking to move him. I don't know if San Fran will make that move in the division.
Right.
Not like they're afraid of Jimmy
might
G,
be forced. They might be forced to. Well, I don't know. They would have got $25 million if they moved Jimmy G, and they still kept him on the book. So, but they might. I mean, soon they're going to be forced to do something. They haven't done much in free agency. Like they did bring in a number 1 corner from Kansas City, but they haven't done much like everyone else has done. You see the Rams getting better in the division with Allen Robinson. Seattle re-signing some of their pieces. We let a lot of pieces walk, and you have to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. And it just scares me that they haven't yet. Because if you waive him, that's only $18 million savings. If you trade him, that's $25 million in savings. So you got to get rid of him.
Well, I mean, but right now, I mean, do you have to get rid of him? You already said they handcuffed them they've been handcuffed because they haven't got rid of them in free agent. They haven't been in signing deals. And I know they're trying to re-sign their own dudes or extend some dudes, right? But do you have to get rid of them? Like Jason brought up, he did lead you to NFC Championship.
I can't go through another year, Jimmy G. I'm not going to survive.
Yeah, but he might be your backup this year, and
$5 million backup AA.
He'll sleep better at night.
A $25 million backup. I can't do another year, Jimmy G. I will fly to San Francisco myself and talk to John Lynch and say, "What are you doing?"
But I mean, have you heard they're not
like right now? Who do you think is going to make a move for Jimmy G?
It's either got to be Carolina. I thought it could be the Saints, but I think it's going to be Carolina. It's got to be Carolina.
Stop it.
What Jason? Would you want to see Jimmy G at Carolina?
No, but I mean, at the same time, it's well, I mean, we can say all we want, but it's an upgrade over Sam Darnold, and that's kind of indisputable. Although, but I mean, and
are you guys having a hard time hearing, or is it just me?
There's some rattling somewhere, but I'm not just homering out here. Sam Darnold can play. It's just that too many things have to be perfect for him to play, and I think that's the difference between a good player or not. So I think Sam Darnold has no trade value, so I think it's going to suck having to be paying him and the price of Jimmy G. So for that reason, I don't know. I don't know if I want Jimmy G. I want an upgraded quarterback, but I don't want to be paying 1.5 quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So it's tough.
And I know somebody in the 49ers organization messed up. I think they overvalued Jimmy G. And that's why, and then him having that shoulder surgery, a week before free agency might have been his way of sticking it to the team. But somebody made a mistake because he should have been off that roster, 2 weeks after that Rams game, the NFC Championship game. Should have been off that roster.
He had you winning the game. He had you in the game, and that last throw ain't really on him. I get it.
Definitely on him. That last throw was definitely on him. He
had no other choice.
But it's not even that. The problem is that Shanahan doesn't trust him. I rewatched that game 4 times already, and you could see that Shanahan does not trust Jimmy Garoppolo. So he limits Shanahan's offense. And you talk about having to have the perfect play, the perfect pieces. That's what Shanahan has to call every time for this guy to be a great quarterback and move the ball. Has to call the perfect pieces. And when the run game's not working, he couldn't carry us to victory. Our defense played lights out in that Rams game. And he couldn't put up more than 17 points.
DeHaven, you watched that game 4 times now?
Yes.
You like torture, man.
Yeah, I was saying, man.
I had to see what happened, where we went wrong at.
I hear you, man. Where you went wrong, and is that guy is not fit to make the play when it matters.
Right. Below, you're right. I am concerned about Trey Lance if they're so hesitant on trading this guy.
Well, that's what you got to wonder is did they miss on that? That's.
But how can you tell if he hasn't played yet?
You don't know what they see behind the scenes. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good point.
That was the thing about the kid that Belichick took is that you knew this guy could manage a game.
Jones, yeah,
you knew he was good. He's your next version of Matty Ice, maybe not with as strong an arm, when Matty first came out, but that's what you're getting
right away.
Yeah, you're gonna get a manager. You're gonna win 10 games a year with that quarterback.
Oh man, that's the tough thing. I tell you one thing, the AFC is going to be tough.
Yeah, just to get into the playoffs in the AFC is going to be tough at this point.
AFC North is going to be tough.
Oh, I feel sorry for Pittsburgh. Who are they rolling out there with? Trubisky?
Yeah, I that one I don't understand.
You know what's pretty wild to me is how Meek have inherited the earth in the AFC North. I mean, it has went from. I mean, we're going to see if Lamar comes back at the same.
Yeah.
But it went from Pittsburgh, Baltimore to. It's not even close anymore. I mean, it's just not even close that it's Cleveland and Cincinnati. I mean, there's not even a 3rd and 4th. We need to skip 3rd and 4th, and really Baltimore needs to be 5th, and Pittsburgh's like 9th. And it's just wild how that seems to have happened in one season.
So what's the issue? What's the issue with Lamar? It's just health, and then what he's got around him.
Well, he's inconsistent. I mean, he'll have MVP games and then 2 duds, and you don't really know why. And then so that part hurts, but. It's good to see from a parity standpoint. I mean, this is what the NFL wants. They don't want the same old bottom-feeding teams. So I think once you get the Joe Burrow effect a few times across the league, you can change the landscape.
I mean, look what Von Miller did. He said, I just won a Super Bowl with the Rams. I'm going to go get another one with the Bills because he thinks they're closer than the Rams are for repeating.
And then how scary are the Bengals? They picked up an offensive line
from the Cowboys.
Kappa, Lyle Collins, they're going to protect Barrow now. They might be really scary. Yeah, I feel sorry for Mitchell Trubisky. Talk about replacing the legend. Pittsburgh might go 4-13.
Pittsburgh wants that Ohio State kid, not this year, but next year. That's who they got their eyes on.
C.J. Stroud.
Yeah,
they got one.
He's eligible. He was a redshirt, I think, so he might be eligible after this year.
Yeah, he'll be. This is his last year.
Yeah, same with Bryce Young.
Yeah, same with the Bama kid.
And like you brought up, double Miami kid as well.
Yeah, Van Dyke, if no doubt.
I think
Jason.
what we were saying, I was just going to recap for when you coming back in. We were saying how wild it is how the Meek have inherited the earth in the AFC North. It went from a Pittsburgh-Baltimore division to it is just far and away a Cleveland-Cincinnati division now.
Right.
I didn't like that.
Well, I mean, Cincinnati. Do you think with Baltimore? You think they where you rate where they at?
3.
Lamar, yeah, they've got to be 3rd because I mean the inconsistency with Lamar. I hate saying the injury part because no player can help that, And so it's tough to say that, but if he can't stay on the field, and his style of play is what gets him injured. So
yeah, it's his without the weapons, he's got that ball's on his hand more and more than probably should be.
I think that's
that overtime game when they won it on that pass, like that for me was the first time that Lamar became a pro. I was last year. I can't remember who it was, but because Baltimore cost themselves 3 games going for the 2-point, or no, 2 games going for the 2-point conversion for the tie. And then the third time they were doing it, you remember we were like, "What are you doing? You have learned this lesson before." And he threaded the needle and got it done and won the game. I can't remember against the team, but that was when I think he became a pro in my mind. You know what I mean? He took that next step. So if he can continue that, we'll see.
The question is, how much does Baltimore give him on his contract with the injury history? That's an interesting one to figure out. If you're Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, how much do you give Lamar, being that his style of play, and do you risk going out there with no new contract next year?
That's what he did. Remember, he's betting on himself.
Oh,
he chose that. They actually put out a statement saying we're ready to talk to Lamar now. Whenever he's ready, we're ready. And Lamar, put out whatever his statement was, saying that he wants to wait till after the season. So, I mean, you got to admire that supreme confidence when they're saying, "Let's get a deal done now." They've seen enough, but he is saying I think he wants the biggest contract in the league because he'll get paid right now. Like right now, he could get above averagely paid. The only reason to not is I think he wants to get all of the money, and I think he thinks his injuries are a talking point for the other side. So he wants to eliminate.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think he deserved to get paid. I think right now when you look at supporting cast, I mean, Baltimore, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, man. They haven't done anything to get this guy. That truly don't have a number one receiver. He still got guys that's developing stuff. His number one receiver is the tight end, So, I mean, they need to get some more playmakers around him, man, because you're right now in regards to this, because of his style of play, his window is shorter. It's almost like, they talking about his shelf life, like as a running back, your shelf life is shorter. So you might as well, with him being a running quarterback, obviously his shelf life is shorter as well. So with that in mind, man, Baltimore, they need to give him some playmakers around, especially on the receiver core, man. I mean, they had a musical chair as a running back, obviously because of injuries and stuff like that, but they got to do better around him, man. They got to give him some more playmakers because he's doing more with less than a lot of other people. He's carrying that team. So that's what I'm saying. He deserved to get all he can from them,
The only receiver I can think of he's got was Hollywood Brown, Antonio Brown's cousin or brother. That's it. He's the third receiver.
He had Sammy Watkins for a minute. He had Sammy, but Michael, you're right. They didn't even do anything in free agency this year. They got the safety right from the Saints. They splashed on the safety from the Saints.
Williams. Yeah, Marcus Williams.
Yeah, they didn't go after Allen Robinson or any of those top, wide receivers just to get him a number one. You have to.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I want to see. I want to see what he could do because, Jason, you talk about him developing as a passer, but, I mean, he's always could pass the ball, but obviously, but he needs some talent. I think when you put talent, it helps you pass the ball a whole lot better. How about that,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when's the last time they've had one? When's the last time they've had a number one receiver? Like a guy that could be a number one receiver on another team.
Not Anquan Bolden. We can't go back that far, can we?
Steve Smith.
Maybe. You might be right.
Who?
Steve Smith. Yeah.
Steve Smith, maybe. Yeah.
The question is that, a lot of quarterbacks don't make it to the open markets. You guys see how Kirk Cousins gets paid? So maybe Lamar is just trying to make it to the open market to break the bank because premium quarterbacks don't make it to the open market, normally. I think Kirk Cousins.
We're forgetting about Hollywood Brown.
Huh?
We're forgetting about Hollywood Brown.
No, that's what I just said earlier. I said Hollywood Brown, but he's not a number one. He's number 2 or 3 at best.
But it's still a question mark for him. I mean, they could have made that trade get Amari Cooper. They could have made a trade to get. Yeah. They could have made a trade to get some playmakers around. Made the trade to get Adams from Green Bay. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, build around this dude.
I think
some playmakers around.
But without Lamar, I mean, who does Hollywood Brown get to play with? So I mean, I think the kid can play. I think he's right there with CD Lamb in Dallas. I truly do.
Really? No.
Yeah. Look at some Hollywood Brown plays, man. That gentleman is that is a number one receiver in my opinion.
He can go over the top. I just don't know if he can run the whole route reel. I don't know if he's that kind of receiver.
And look at his production compared to CD Lamb. Look at his production and see like that's because potential get you fired at some point. If he don't produce.
He doesn't get to anybody.
Right. So I don't know if you say he don't get to what?
If Lamar can't stay on the field, look, there's a huge drop off behind Lamar all the time.
I don't know, because that dude that came in last year when Lamar got hurt,
he did well.
That dude did really well. You talking about Marcus Mariota? That dude, he was balling. What's that guy name?
Hundley or something like that?
Yeah, Ty Hundley.
Yeah.
What? Yes.
He won a couple games last year. He actually did a nice job.
Balling. Not the Huntley from that played quarterback at UCLA. This
Utah.
other guy, Huntley, man.
Yeah, Ty. He played with the Utah.
This dude was balling when he came in, man.
Come on now. Apologize. Is he related to you? Is that what this is?
No.
Wait, it ain't
just with me. Like the other guy's telling you too. Double A. The Haven.
It ain't Brent Hundley.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Let me tell you, you would like him in Carolina at this point.
You sure would.
Tyler Huntley. It's Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, Brent Huntley was that guy that did the terrible job in Green Bay for a few weeks. Remember when Aaron? I thought that's what you were talking about. I was what?
No. That's why I made reference. It wasn't him. It was the Huntley. This dude.
Yeah, he's good. He's all right.
Oh, he played at Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid can play.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. As far as to me, my vote, the team that didn't do anything or get an F in all season would be. Even though they signed Marcus Williams, I wanted them to do more for Lamar Jackson, Baltimore. Which other teams you're disappointed with that didn't make any moves or major moves?
I think you got to look at the Saints. Re-signing Winston is, he's coming off some major surgery again. He ain't shown that he can stand up for a full season. So, I know they had some cap issues there, but they could be a problem. I think Carolina's a problem. I think Pittsburgh. That one makes no sense.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Commanders' move for Wentz. I think if they would have been a little bit more patient, they might have
got Matty Ice.
They could have got Matt Ryan. Yeah, had they been a little bit more. I know Russell Wilson told them no. But had they been I think they panicked a little bit too early and pulled that trade.
But the truth is, Matty Ice wouldn't work in Washington because Indy he just inherited basically a 2,000-yard running back. That at that point in his career, that guy just stepped in it and is loving life right now because the pressure ain't on him.
Go ahead, Haven. Go ahead and finish your thought.
Minnesota was a little head scratcher. I know they had to extend Cousins, but I didn't think extending Cousins was a little strange to me. Giving him another $35 million guaranteed. I know premium quarterbacks are hard to come by, but you kind of reached your ceiling with that. But definitely, I think I'm a little disappointed in Washington and that Carson Wentz move. I don't think that's going to pan out for them.
Anybody mention Arizona?
No. Go ahead.
They've done nothing. They've done nothing. They've just done nothing. So if you've got an upset quarterback already, I don't know how you do nothing to make him happier. They've signed no one of note. They haven't even you could probably speak to this more, MB, but even if you miss, kind of like how you said with Carolina, A for effort, even if you miss it, but if you're in the conversation a lot on these, you almost get credit for trying. You almost, you know what I mean? But what conversation has anyone had with regards to Arizona this entire offseason other than they pissed off their quarterback, who's probably done it to himself, but still, they've done nothing to get better.
They extended their coach.
and the general manager, but then they did do one thing. I won't kill him. I agree with you. I was surprised they let Chandler Jones walk out the door, because this guy's still a premium pass rusher, even though he's 32. 31-32. But and then they traded for Zach Ertz last year, and they ended up re-signing him.
Yeah.
So they did secure him. But you're right. I think the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, what he wants them to do for them is sign him to a long contract. So, and then they end up losing a receiver to Jacksonville. Jacksonville overpaid for him.
Yeah, Christian Kirk.
Yeah. So I get it to some degree, right? So they did do something to some degree, but they didn't do enough. And like you said, what the quarterback wants them to do, from my understanding, he want to get paid too. He like, pay me, man.
They should have been in that Devontae Adams market. If that guy could have been had from Green Bay, there should have been a lot of teams going after that if that was possible.
I think though I was out of Vegas. I think he definitely wanted to play for Vegas though.
Right, that was why.
Exactly.
He just built a big house there, and
plus they got D-Hop, they've got AJ Green.
That's what I'm saying.
AJ Green's free agent.
Oh, is he? I thought he had one more year.
No, he'll free agent.
The Giants doing nothing.
Yeah, the Giants. What did the Giants do? Who do they have? They restructured some contract. They got Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they tied on cap space too, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. They had some guys restructure some deal, like Blake Martinez restructure. They had the receiver Shepard, I think, restructured some deals, make it happen. But yeah, but you're right. I mean, I can't think they did anything. Well, it's good that what's your thoughts on this? One of the rumors was talking about maybe they was going to listen and trade Barkley. I mean, Shaquan. I mean, do you think that was a good move not to trade him?
I think you move on from him. I think he's a great player. Well, I don't think he's lived up to the hype. I think he had a great rookie season, but I think if you remember back, that's when they kind of needed to do that, and I think they had the line that could do that a little bit better. And I think Tyrod Taylor's starting by week 4 or 5 because I think New York has been too irrelevant for too long at this point for them to you can't have a major market team just continue to suck.
Yeah, but there's no guarantee that Tyrod could even stay healthy for a full season. He can't. He comes in, plays 2-3 games, and he's out.
Right.
But if he doesn't, I mean, I think a healthy Tyrod Taylor is consistently better than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah,
but to me, what move? Like you talking about, you brought it up. What moves other than signing him? Like what other playmakers they have? He can't. They need some more players.
Yeah, they just lost Evan Ingram too to
Jacksonville. I mean, they need some players. I mean, they're playmakers. They got Shepard, who's good, and he was hurt. But I mean, they need some playmakers around.
They did get Golladay last year, but it didn't work out.
They got who?
I think
Kenny Golladay.
Yeah,
Kenny Golladay last year.
Yep.
Detroit, right?
It's interesting because the NFC East and the AFC East are now the least. Those used to be the top 2 divisions on both sides for decades. As far as consistency.
It's weird in the division, I know, but man, I'm telling you, Gardner Minshew, go get him. That boy, you bring Minshew Mania to the Big Apple? Are you kidding me? I mean, he's more of a Jets guy, I think, than the Giants, but I think if Philadelphia isn't super high on him, that may help a trade within the division. But I think Tyrod Taylor, I mean, he can play. He played well in Houston when he had his opportunities. Played really well out west, but I think he maybe gets you 2. He wins you 2 games. Daniel Jones won't. So you'll go from a 4-win to a 6-win season.
You need to work on that Minshew to Carolina train.
I'd love it.
I was just about to ask you, would you like that?
Yeah, I'll take that right now over any other available quarterback, unless I can undo the Deshaun Watson deal. I'm in. That boy can play, man. That boy can play. Y'all don't think he can?
I don't know too much about him.
He's okay. Get
him, Dave.
Where's George? How you gonna knock a guy that wears George to warm-ups? That is.
I gotta say, you gotta give Deshaun, you gotta give Watson credit because I as much as I think the money was the ultimate decider, I think from a football stance, he looked at where he's going with talent. I think that's what was the ultimate decider. I think I think Cleveland gives him the best chance to be successful on the field.
Isn't that weird to say?
What's an extra $40 million at that point? When you're talking $200 million.
I think the most talented roster was probably New Orleans, but I think the turmoil. If Sean Payton hadn't left, he's in New Orleans right now.
Oh yes.
I think so as well. Yeah,
100%. That's.
Well, hold on. Let's say. So you think the most talented roster out of them is break that down. Explain to me. I know you got Michael Thomas at receiver, right?
I think they had the strongest defense, and I think they had enough pieces on the offense to go. Whereas I'm looking at Carolina, they had the D, the offense is besides there's just not enough there, and Atlanta is I don't know what that D really is. So
I think two things. I think if Sean Payton hadn't retired, and Terron Armstead stays, Deshaun Watson to New Orleans delivers a couple consecutive Super Bowls
with Kamara, no doubt.
Yeah, right. But I think Sean Payton retiring is going to hurt. The ability to keep some other of those pieces together. Terron Armstead probably would have took a pay cut to stick around. Michael Thomas probably would have been more happy. Those two are definitely going to be. Is Terron Armstead signed anywhere yet? He's just.
I think he was looking at. He was visiting Miami.
Yeah.
So
now you're going to lose your anchor. You're going to lose your weapon. It kind of kills that city. I think, but still, even then, we haven't even talked about their defense is still there. So it's going to be tough.
They lost their free safety though. That hurts, but they got Marcus May, who's coming off Achilles tendon.
Oh, they said that if Deshaun would have signed with New Orleans, the Honey Badger probably would have signed with them too.
Would have stayed. That's the thing, is that the path in the NFC is a lot easier, obviously, than what the AFC is, right? The AFC is a minefield just to make the playoffs at this point, especially where he just went to.
Which,
Jason, let me ask you a question. We talk about running back with New York Giants. Christian McCaffrey, do you think he still stay at the Panthers, or they end up trading? It was talking about.
I think he stays now, because I think he was an attractive trade piece.
Yeah.
And I think there's no Ruby on the shelf now to go get for him. So I think he stays. I think Houston, in my opinion, I think they wanted Carolina because they wanted Christian McCaffrey. That's what I think. But I think that I think with Saquon, you're going to have limited market because everybody's going to be looking at his recent production, his recent injuries. Yeah. I think he can Jonathan Taylor his career to an extent, because I think he's kind of similar. Because Jonathan Taylor is more, he just makes the right choice at the line and then quick burst, and then he'll earn his 4 or 5 off the decision, and then he'll burn his next 6 or 7. You know what I mean? Whereas those other guys, how many times we see a running back take a handoff and we're like, the hole was right there. Like, what were you seeing? Like, why'd you run into the pack? Jonathan Taylor never seems to do that. And Saquon, similarly in New York, he would sidestep, which was wild as a rookie. How many times do you see a rookie go lateral where they normally wouldn't have the confidence to do that, and he'd get upfield? So I think if he goes to a better roster, he can do that. It's just going to be New York's going to want too much right now. They're going to want a lot for Saquon Barkley, in my opinion. So I don't think he goes anywhere. So that's unless you can get a quarterback for him. But who's left?
Right, exactly.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy G, yeah.
Hey, Saquon in San Francisco.
Let me tell you, he could be the next generation Frank Gore, because if he changes his style and gets rid of that lateral and just does one cut and go, Gore changed his whole style with those knee injuries.
The Haven, man, you may have just spoken some radical. I mean, dude, I never thought about that, but is there a better place
for Garoppolo?
For Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, but for Garoppolo too, the Giants could use him.
Yeah. Hey, didn't think about that. But they're not going to give up on Daniel this soon.
No, and then also based on the history of the head coach and this type of offense, is the reason why they signed Tyrod Taylor, just because he likes a running quarterback. It's the type of offense they do.
Right.
So I think my man Steve was saying he wanted Marcus Mariota as opposed to as
Tyrod,
opposed to Ron Taylor. Yeah, but they're similar as far as running the ball. I mean, that offense. You look at Josh Allen. I mean, he was the leading rusher. At some point at Buffalo because they want a running quarterback. So I think Daniel Jones, if he can't do it under this guy, then I mean, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be done. But now somebody asked who's left, man. Well, it's the Sweet 16 in the NC2A men's basketball, and I know who's left. Those Hurricanes, baby. We can't leave the show without mentioning about those Hurricanes and Sweet 16 end up beating the Auburn Tigers, man, and they getting it done, man. Nobody, how about those Hurricanes, baby?
They're running back 4 point guards and a big who's on the perimeter. So they're playing positionless basketball and representing. I thought the ACC got the short end of the stick this year, but you got 3 out of the 4 teams in the Sweet 16. And I'll say this for the Canes: we beat Duke at Duke, and we put it on Carolina by over plus 30. So I think they can get to the 8. I don't know if they can get past Kansas. But we're gonna find out, maybe if Duke makes it to the 4, K-Lou will come back on the show, because seeing that Krzyzewski's face these days, he's not a happy guy. So I don't know what it takes to make him happy.
Well, I tell you what, you're right about ACC as far as the regular season. Didn't get a lot of recognition. I think at one point Duke was the only ranked team out of there, but now out of Sweet 16, you got 3 ACC teams. You got 3 Big 12. I got 1 ACC and Big 10, maybe 1 or 2, right, with Michigan.
And Big 10 started with 10 in the tournament.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, but definitely, man, Miami winning. Definitely, I was surprised. They end up beating Auburn. Any other surprises, guys? Guys who watched it, been watching the tournament. Any other surprises as far as any team stick out? Major upsets? DeHaven, anything you? I know you're Duke fan all the way.
Yeah, I'm a Duke fan, but St. Peter's, what they've done with a school of 2,600 people, 2,600 students, and beating Kentucky, and then the win was it yesterday or the day before? That's a pretty amazing story of what St. Peter's has done.
I gotta roll. I'm out, fellas.
Okay, bro.
All right.
Yeah, St. Peter's is that's a shocking to me.
They're definitely the Cinderella out of the group. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
now they're ranked 15, and they beat, like you say, number 2 Kentucky. Then I think beat Murray State or something like that.
And Murray State was the hottest team in the country. So they're on a long winning streak coming into that.
They beat them by like 10. But Iowa State's doing is pretty impressive as well, coming from the 11.
What you say, DeHaven?
Iowa State. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
Iowa State and Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan definitely, man, especially with all the thing that happened turmoil in the beginning. Yeah, with him and should he be fired? Those dudes are. I mean, they're playing. They're definitely. They made it. Now they got a tough matchup this in Sweet 16 against Villanova. They would. Go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off. I'll just say this. Overall, I don't see a UNLV type team. I don't see a dominant team. So I think it's up for grabs. I don't see anyone running away with this right now. I mean, Duke's obviously got the talent. Carolina's got the talent, but I just don't see them playing, that dominating basketball where they're winning by 20. I mean, Miami beat up on a team yesterday, but they broke that team's heart, and they were young. That was 23-year-olds beating up on 18-year-olds, which is, as you know, mentally, that's a big difference. So,
right.
Yeah, Michigan was a good win. Tennessee had a really good team. I have a lot of friends that went to Tennessee. That I thought that was going to be, Tennessee actually had better pieces.
Right.
Michigan they really played hard, and Michigan State, like you said, Double A. Everybody thought Duke was going to run over Michigan State. I was yelling to the 5th minute. That was a real good game. So it'll be interesting. I think Gonzaga's starting to hit their stride a little bit, though.
But even I watched Arizona late last night. I mean, they got lucky to squeak by TCU. TCU, I mean, gave them everything, So Gonzaga, Arizona, Kansas, they're good. They're number ones. Don't get me wrong, but they just don't look like they're, they just got to show up and put on the laces. They're gonna have to play ball, So I think it's up for grabs.
Yeah. Whoever gets hotter.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're seeing right now. That's why Miami. Not that I think Iowa State is any bit of a cakewalk, but they were not scared of that Auburn team, and so when I see an old veteran team start to do that kind of stuff, I know when you got guards in the NCAA tournament,
That's who wins the tournament.
you can go for a long run.
Yeah.
So and Larenega's been there before, so I'm optimistic. So we lost Mike.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Guards could take you really far in the tournament.
Yeah. So, but that's all I gotta say. So,
go Duke.
Go Duke. We'll end it on like, and maybe Krzyzewski will smile one day.
He smiled at the end of the game yesterday.
He did. He knew he was in trouble, they found what it took to that he's been looking for.
Like you said, they got first rounders, right? I mean, Banchero's probably the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah,
and then those other kids started showing up, and but Michigan State played hard. It wasn't easy. I thought Michigan State was playing harder than them for the first half, and then finally, like you said, they woke up. They went on that run at the end of the first half, and then Michigan State came back, and when they were down 5, I was concerned. My wife
I just looking at Krzyzewski's face on the sideline. I'm like, I wouldn't want to go back into that locker room and not giving it 195% because that guy was not happy at the end of the regular season, and he don't look happy now. So,
well, what y'all think about these Sweet 16 matchups? You got KU versus Providence, right?
Yeah.
State versus Miami. I'm going with Miami. I'm going with KU. KU, I'm going with them. Providence has been playing well, but KU, man, I watched them play this weekend, and they got some players, man. They got some bigs, they got some guards. I was really surprised by the team, and the team they played, Creighton, man. It was a great game. Creighton looked good, and I was like, man, these two teams are really good. They were very similar,
Creighton in the first game against San Diego State was a shootout, man. Those guys, they were going back and forth, throwing haymakers. So I mean, Creighton's they were no slouch. So that's why I don't think Miami can get past Kansas. I think Kansas is just, if they show up, that's it. So you're frozen, Mike. He's giving me that look. Well, so I don't know what the other matchups are. I don't have them in front of me. Go ahead, you're back.
I got this. Okay. So I got and then in the South, so that's the Midwest. In the South, you got number 1 Arizona versus Houston.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. Houston's good. Houston's real good.
They've been doing real well.
That's gonna be a good game.
Well, last year as well,
Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson doing a real good job.
Exactly. And then you got number 11 Michigan versus number 2 Villanova. I think it may end right here. That's going to be a good matchup in the South.
That's a good matchup too, man. Those are all good.
And then in the East, you got number 8 North Carolina, who dominated. I say dominated Baylor. Baylor coming back forcing the overtime, but that was shocking. The way they manhandled it. And then their best player got injected, and that helped. But number 8 North Carolina versus number 4 UCLA, who last year, man, they be doing it. I like UCLA. And then you got number 3 Purdue versus number 15 St. Peter's, right? And then in the West, you got number 1 Gonzaga, who barely squeaked by Memphis. Memphis actually, I thought, should have won that game. Yeah. They were leading.
Why didn't he play that freshman more, Bates? I wonder why he didn't play Bates more. I know he was on a minutes restriction, but I don't know why he didn't play Bates more.
So who does Gonzaga play in the next?
They play number 4 Arkansas.
Ooh,
that's a good game.
Those are all good games, man.
Yeah.
You got number 2 Duke versus number 3 Texas Tech.
Oh,
who ended up beating Notre Dame yesterday.
That's not going to be an easy one.
No.
Yeah, it's some games, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely some games. But Memphis, man, they should have won that game. Yeah. I was like, wow. It was a few games could have went the other way. Like Creighton versus Kansas could have went the other way. It's some games that could have won.
The Davidson game could have went either way. I forgot who they played, but Davidson could have went either way.
Definitely
TCU,
been some good
Arizona.
matches.
That Arizona game had me up late last night, but that Arizona got
Yeah.
lucky to get out of that.
That follow-up dunk at the end.
Oof.
That was sick.
I'll still take the Miami kid's dunk over the freshman. That was as nasty as I've seen. that kid wanted to go home and put his head under the pillow after that.
All right, well, speaking of going home, man, we're gonna close out right here, man. I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Appreciate the love, and man, we got to see what this Sweet 16 side works out. But yeah, the U, baby, the U, we got those Canes over here. Whoosh, whoosh, we got those Canes over here. Whoosh, whoosh.
K-Lou was giving us no respect. We're right there dancing with him.
I know we're right there with him, man. Him and DeHaven a Duke fan too, so
Yeah.
That's right.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see who can go the farthest. But that Kansas team, I'm like, golly, they put us in the bracket with them. But let's get by this Iowa State, who ended up beating Wisconsin, baby, and I'll take it, baby. Get to the Elite Eight, baby. Sweet 16, Elite Eight. We'll keep moving, baby. Keep moving. But hey, man. But listen, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Tell the wise we said hi. I appreciate Atlanta Bar, you guys, for the show, man. All right. But y'all enjoy the rest of your night, man. Y'all take care.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
All right. From Sideline to Baseline, we are out. Y'all take care. God bless. Peace.
Peace.